First of all, thank you for asking me to speak tonight. It is the first time I've told my story to this many people, so please bear with me. Back when I was a little boy, everything was perfect. I was really happy and I had lots of friends and I loved school. I was bright and outgoing and always on adventures with my friends. My parents broke up when I was just 3 years old, and my mum brought me and my sister up by herself. My mum was brilliant and always did the best she could for us. We were a very close family. We never had any money, but it didn't matter. I never cared. We were perfectly content. Everything was so carefree when I was young. I loved growing up, and I felt like I had a really bright future. I wanted to become an entrepreneur and become a millionaire. My sister Chloe is 5 years older than me, and we were best friends. She always looked out for me, and I could tell her anything. She'd have done anything for me as I would her. When she met George at work, they were both 15. I was 10 and I really liked him, so I was pleased when they started going out. I saw him as a big brother or a father figure. We had a connection immediately, and he started coming around all the time, and we would talk about football and play the PlayStation together. One day when I was just 12 years old and he was 17, Chloe messaged me and invited me to hang out at George's house. I went up to his and we all watched a film together before Chloe had to leave. George asked me to play FIFA with him, so I stayed behind and we played the computer for an hour or two. Then he put on the TV and we flicked through some sports channels together. He then suggested a DVD and he put on some porn. He asked me sexual questions and started touching me. He told me this is what friends do, and then he raped me. He told me to clean myself up and he grabbed my arm and said I couldn't tell anyone. He said, if your mum finds out, she'll be ashamed of you. Your sister loves me and it will break her heart if you told anyone. There was no chance I was going to tell anyone. And then we went and played football together on the field like everything was normal. That night, he took me and my sister to the cinema and he paid for the tickets. From that day on, he would attack me 3 or 4 times a week. It would happen at my house, his house, at my dad's, and on holiday. It never ended. This went on for 3 years, and while he was abusing me, he would pay for football tickets and take me to Chelsea football matches. It was confusing. I still looked up to him and wanted him to be my friend, but he was abusing me. He would say over and over that I would break my sister's heart if I said anything. He told me it was just what friends did. He told me everyone would think I was gay if I came out. My behaviour started changing, but I didn't realise it was because of the abuse. I felt like everyone at school was looking at me and judging me. I couldn't speak to anyone. I just wanted to be at home all the time. I ended up leaving school at the age of 13 and being homeschooled. I didn't take any GCSEs, however, I still didn't connect it to the abuse at the time. I stopped seeing friends and had no mates. George was my only friend. I trusted him implicitly. He made me feel special. The abuse stopped when I was 15 years old, when I threatened to call the police. I didn't, but he never touched me again. Eventually he moved to Australia and I forgot about him. I blocked out everything that happened. A few years passed. When I just turned 18, I got a message from George saying he had moved back home. We went out for a drink and became friends once again. I was still blocking out the years of abuse and was remembering when George was the only person I could depend on. We became friends again and even went on holiday together. Then, one weekend, we went on a road trip together. We had an argument and it triggered something in my head. I told him he couldn't hurt me anymore and I knew he had raped me. I managed to tell my sister a few months later. I told her that George used to make me do things and she broke down in tears. It felt like such a relief to get it out. I told my mum the day after that, and then my dad. We reported it to the police and I gave my statement that week. But then my mental health started to deteriorate. I started hearing voices telling me to hurt myself. They were telling me to harm and kill myself. One time I was driving my car and the voices told me to crash my car, so I did. I didn't tell anyone why I did it. My mum and dad took me to hospital, then I was sent to a psychiatric hospital to try and sort my head out. Since then, I've had a lot of therapy and counselling. It's been a very long process, but I've survived. Some days are harder than others, but I have survived. 2 weeks ago, George was sentenced to 22 years in prison. and that means I can finally start my next chapter. This is where life really begins for me. If the NSPCC had come into my school, I would have been told that the way George was treating me wasn't okay. I would have known the importance of speaking out and who I could speak to. Your support tonight will ensure that the NSPCC can reach more children who might not know that the abuse they're experiencing is wrong. Tonight you could save a child from years of pain. Thank you.